Imagine an explosion 500 times the force of a nuclear bomb. It happened at Chernobyl, and it could happen here. As a concerned citizen, I've done much research on nuclear power. We must stop the use of nuclear power plants to protect the environment, the economy, and human life. One of the greatest adverse effects of nuclear energy is the damage it causes the environment. As with thermal power plants, or power plants that burn fossil fuels for energy, nuclear power plants require some means by which they can expel heat. Some plants use cooling towers, while some use a large body of water, such as an artificial lake or a natural body of water, such as a lake or river. As you can see in the diagram, the lake has water drawn from it into the system of the reactor, where it is used to cool and spin the turbine when it's heated. Then it goes back into the body of water, where it affects the environment. This negatively affects the various life forms of the ecosystem into which the heat is rejected. In some cases, the heat rejected into water bodies can cause severe changes in the flow rates of rivers and even affect the sea level. According to Huffington Post, one particular research done showed an average rise in sea level of about 3 millimeters a year on the northeast coast of the United States. Every 24 months, nuclear power plants must shut down to remove and replace their uranium fuel. The spent fuel has released most of its energy as a result of the fission process and has become radioactive waste. Currently, the spent fuel is stored at the nuclear power plants at which it was generated, either in steel-lined concrete vaults filled with water or in above-ground steel or steel-reinforced concrete containers with steel inner canisters. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, in 2002, the President's Blue Ribbon Commission on America's Nuclear Future issued a report recommending the timely development of one of the more permanent underground facilities for the safe disposal of this radioactive material. Any accident involving this waste will cause permanent damage to the land and the life forms around it. Nuclear power plants do not emit carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, or nitrogen oxides as part of the power generation process. However, fossil fuel emissions are associated with the uranium mining and uranium enrichment process, as well as with the transport of uranium fuel to and from the nuclear plant. Also, nuclear power plants use diesel generators as a means for backup electric power in case of emergencies. Most nuclear power plants are required to test these systems once every month to ensure they are working. These monthly tests do release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Nuclear power plants are well regulated, and so it is rare to hear of any accidents. However, they have happened. Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island, for example. When nuclear power plants fail, they put the land around them at severe risk of being destroyed and useless to the humans and animals alike. Another major reason to find new power sources is the benefit it would bring to our economy. Building a large-scale nuclear reactor takes thousands of workers, huge amounts of steel and concrete, thousands of components, and several systems to provide electricity, cooling, ventilation, information, control, and communication. This costs immense amounts of money, especially when compared to the cost of building green energy producing sites, such as wind farms and solar farms. By switching to green energy, we would also create a massive amount of new jobs and even new job fields. It would create jobs in construction, maintenance, and the technological field, as it would take many people to run the new green energy farms. By stopping the usage of nuclear power and moving towards greener energy, we will also be lowering the cost of energy across the country. Green energy is much easier to get than coal and costs the energy company no money. This would lower all of our electric and heating bills and save people money. The final reason to stop the use of nuclear power plants is the effect it will have on humankind. Every radiation exposure increases our risk of cancer. Nuclear energy requires that many communities be exposed as uranium is processed to fuel and fuel is used to produce waste. Many nuclear power plant workers are contaminated, and sometimes their families are exposed. This exposure causes mutations inside of our bodies that are often deadly forms of cancer. Thousands of those exposed at Chernobyl have already died of cancer caused by radiation exposure when the plant exploded. Exposure to radiation from nuclear power plants also causes another type of mutation. This one takes place inside of our cells. Years down the road, this mutation will cause birth defects in children. Now we have looked at all the adverse effects of nuclear power. Now you have seen the effect of nuclear power on the environment, the economy, and human life. I think you can agree that we must stop the use of nuclear power. The termination of nuclear power sources can save the world for future generations to come.